Welcome, everyone. I am Melissa Robinson, and I am honored to be here with you today to share some digital ideas I use in my business. While there are many resources to do so, I will share that what I am using and what I find is beneficial in providing quality customer service while supporting and engaging my team members. I did decide to go ahead and pre-record this because I have not mastered the integration between Zoom and Facebook Live, and I want to be able to show you me a little bit, but more importantly, to be able to share my screen and show you some things that I hope will inspire you. So again, I'm Melissa Robinson. For those of you who don't know me, I currently reside in the Atlanta, Georgia metro area. This is the 7th state that we have lived in during 22 years of marriage, which is the same amount of time that I have been a close to my heart consultant and maker. We've actually lived in a few of those states multiple times, which has forced me to restart my business approximately 15 times without actually taking a moment to count. And we have relocated primarily for my husband's profession. And so I have continued to be forced to acquire new business in different ways. Thankfully, I have recruited my customers, built a team with many years of longevity, and again, continue to find unique and different ways in which to attract new customers. What happened and worked in North Carolina maybe didn't work in the Dallas, Texas area. And so each time, while I maybe have tried to plug in to some sort of niche, it always hasn't been successful, and that's forced me to come up with some new ideas. So just so that you know, I have always worked full-time outside of the home as an educator. I have served as a principal, teacher, and professional development trainer for some educational companies. So I have not obtained any new customers in the time that we have lived here, which is getting close to 2 years, partially because of just unique circumstances regarding my job, which always kind of opens the door for making some contacts. And then again, we have COVID. But I am excited to share that my business did increase significantly this last year, which is very exciting. I was honored to be able to fill the void and need for socialization, both for my customers and my team members, which was able to take place virtually. So while I'm a tech nerd on a low level, although I have learned a little bit of coding this year, I do not use nor do anything that is overly complicated in my business. And most of what I use is free. There are only 2 platforms that I currently use that I pay for and feel it's a quality investment as a write-off for my business. But otherwise, I'm able to utilize the tools that I implement in a way that is free, and I can limit it to what those free opportunities provide me. So I do like purposeful, practical, and easy to implement ideas that allow me to accomplish my tasks. So as I share some things with you that I put into practice, I hope I'll plant some ideas in your mind that you can put to use with your customers and or team members. Also, as this is playing, there will be opportunities for me to drop some direct links for the items that I reference. So I'm just going to take a quick look and tell you kind of what I'm going to talk about today. We're actually going to do a little icebreaker so I can model a little activity that you could consider using with both your customers and your team members. That is through Padlet. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about Trello, how I use it. I know many of you do as well, but I think it's always great to get a new perspective for maybe something that you've never considered. I also will talk briefly about Google Docs and then a couple of other fun links that I think will just maybe spice up some things for you and your business. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is I am going to share the Padlet activity with you, and I'm going to ask that you engage with me on this. So you will see a Padlet link that is provided, ideally in the description or somewhere easy for you to find once I do post this in the Maui group. And then if you will go ahead and pause it after I give you some instructions, then I would love for you to complete it and we can see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple adjustments here on my screen so that you can see everything that I'm referencing. Okay, so this is what Padlet looks like. You can see here it's padlet.com. And again, this particular link will actually bring you right into this activity that we're going to do. So again, if you'll allow me just a moment to give you some instructions, and then I hope that you'll play along with me. And as you play, which I hope is purposeful play, but more importantly, that you'll consider how can you utilize this particular tool to, again, spice things up with your customers and or your team members. So once you get the link, if you'll go ahead and click on it, you will be taken to this screen. As you see here, I could have pulled in all different backgrounds or uploaded it, but since I'm an educator, I decided to go like a chalkboard. So here is where the title is. We're actually going to discuss 1+ and 1 delta of your close to my heart business. So a little bit of an explanation here is that you are to name one success you are proud of in your business and one challenge you would like to overcome. So I'll give you a moment to think about that. Name one success you are proud of in your business and one challenge you would like to overcome. So how you're going to engage in this, because I am not asking you to sign into anything. So again, this is free. If you will click on that pink button that was there in the bottom right, you will please type in your first name if you don't mind. If you prefer to list it as something else, that's fine too. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do 1+ is what we call in education, and 1 delta as opposed to positive and negative. So tell me one thing that you are proud of in your business and one challenge you would like to overcome. Once you do that, show you, and you just click off of it, what it does is it actually posts here. So you can see that people can come in and leave you a love here if they like what you posted, could add a comment, maybe a question. All right, so you will start seeing this window populate on your end as people engage with me, and I hope that's everyone. So again, take a moment to pause this video, and then we will resume when you have engaged with me. All right, yes, I did just pause for a moment to allow you to engage and participate in this activity. I'm so teachery, aren't I? So here, ideally, we will be able to see, again, a compilation. So let's talk briefly what this could do for us. First of all, this topic is huge right here, is it not? It would provide us an opportunity to maybe celebrate the successes of our team members when maybe it's something minor, right? It's not in our reports, but we can take a moment to say, oh my gosh, that is so awesome that that's working for you. What are you doing to generate that success? So it creates an awesome amount of dialogue, possibly, that can really serve to inspire and motivate some of your other team members. Now, as we go to the delta, we know that this is going to be, unfortunately, what everybody thinks about quickest, right? What is that kind of challenge that you face that you want to overcome? But again, this kind of feedback, while you don't want it to be negative, will provide us an opportunity to help better lead our teams. They might put something that you hadn't even thought of supporting them in. I know for some of us who have been around for a long time that we tend to take some things for granted. And those little things that we think are so an automatic go-to for everybody, we know is not the case. So I would love for you to also share, what can you do with Padlet beyond the idea that I just shared, or what ideas do you have to implement it? Now, I will tell you that I have not done this yet with my customers, but I have used it on several occasions for my team members. Now, just like anything, you don't want to overdo that, right? If you do a Padlet every week, it's going to create some pretty bored participation or participants on the receiving end. So vary these things, again, that as we acquire these different tools for our toolbox, you can choose what is best to suit whatever it is you are seeking. Now, I will tell you as well, they can change their colors. I kind of like to think about this as a bulletin board. Okay, so I can change my color. They can get really creative. They can upload pictures in here. So if you ever wanted to do, tell me over the last 6 months, what is your favorite artwork piece? right? And they could drop them in here just for a really awesome acknowledgement of the creativity that has been taking place, again, possibly outside of your awareness. So this is Padlet.com. I will also put in at the end of our time together the direct link for Padlet.com. Again, you set up an account for free. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to set up your actual activity here, but I am available beyond this particular time that I have here in order to support you. So please don't hesitate to post in this feed or also just to message me privately, and I'll help you however I can. One little caveat that I am fully aware of with Padlet is I believe that you can only create up to 3 activities at one given time with the free account. So what I do is I stagger them out, number one, but sometimes I get such a quality response that I want to save it. So what I do is I'll just take a screenshot, save it, and then I can clear out that activity and replace it with the new one so that I do not have to pay for the service at this time. So I hope that was a little nugget. I'm curious. I know we have some educators out there too, but have any of you ever used Padlet before? What do you think about it? Let me know as this rolls through on the replay. All right, I'm going to stop sharing there and I'm going to go over to my next portion of my thoughts here. And that is Trello. So what I'm going to do is just give you a little overview of how I use Trello. I'm going to show you a little bit for my customer and team tracking, and that is how do I keep track of contact information for them. I love that Trello syncs to my phone, so it's nice and pretty, and it's nice and pretty on my phone too, but I could be at the post office. Has this ever happened to you? You think that you have carefully copied down the person's address, and when they key it in, they're like, that's not the right address, right? So I can easily come here, as are some other resources as well, but just be open. If you already have a database, a digital database, or I know some of you, I won't mention names, who still write that down in a notebook. But if you already have something that's working for you, then don't necessarily change it, but maybe you can consider how else you might use some of the tools that I'm sharing with you today. Another thing that I use the Trello for is for notes and follow-up for both customers and team members. When is the last time I just sent them a little card to my team members? You know, we always have those team members that always excel, right, are at the top. But what about those who are still putting in their minimums and have been with you for a while or not? But I try and make sure that I cycle them in as often as I can, that they're not the ones receiving that recognition for sales, recruiting, etc. Also, tracking of thank yous, that's a big thing for me because I do not send out thank yous to my customers every month. Being realistic with what I know I can handle, it's just not feasible. So some groups or a group may get their thank you cards this month. So I go and I drag them or I notate them so that I can keep track of them. Well, they're not going to get one next month because what I want to do is focus on those that I didn't address. So it's kind of on an ongoing basis. I send them out when I feel like it, or when it's convenient for me, which is about every 2 to 3 months on average, I would assume. I don't want it to get too long, but I also don't want them to think that there's some reward every time they make a purchase. Ideally, my business would increase, and I just know that I'm not realistically going to be able to keep up with that. Again, having an outside job and other things for which I'm responsible, I'm just being realistic for me. And I'll also talk about how I use it for scheduling out posts. So those of you that already use Trello, and I know some of you have shared that in the past, if there's something that comes to your mind on how we can utilize it that we are not already doing, or if you are using it in a way that others would maybe like to know, please drop that in the chat. We would love to hear from you. All right, so pulling that up so that I can share my screen with you. All these little adjustments. And it's funny, it's a beautiful but slightly humid day today. So you can see my little hair. And I looked in the mirror, I'm like, oh, it looks nice. And then you get on camera and you've got your lighting, which I'm still working on. But you start seeing all my little stray hairs out there. But It's all good. It's all good. We're not here to look at the hair. All right, so here is my screen sharing. So I'm just going to talk about some highlights here. Again, if something catches your eye or you want to know more about it, please let me know, and I'm happy to provide additional information in a way that will help answer your questions. So I do have quite a few boards here for different reasons. Some I have kind of dropped there and I don't look at them as often, but then I've got some of my favorites that I look at almost daily. So this is my task board. We'll talk about that first. So again, Trello I do not pay for. It's totally free. I've used it for several years and it's pretty full, and I've never had any challenges with it. So one of the things that comes with a free account is the calendar power up. And there are other power ups that you can choose. You get one free with the free account. And I chose to go with the calendar power up because I should have brought some water in here and I didn't. Because what I have found out is I love this visual of me being able to see kind of either what's on my agenda for creating artwork primarily, and most importantly, where do I have some gaps with where I need to create some posts in my customer and my team groups. So in those groups, I do tend to share the same content between them for the most part. And one of the things that I do that for in my team group is because when I copy them on a post for my customers, they are welcome to copy, edit, and do for their own customers in their private groups. So that is just something that they get from me, which some of them really enjoy and take advantage of. And we know, I mean, ourselves, right? We love when people share things that we're not all having to accomplish and work on the same task when we can kind of reduce our efforts. So this again just shows you a little overview of what I've got planned out, and you do see some blanks here. I try not to fill them out too far because I think about close to my heart, just put out a blog post last night. So I'm going to want to schedule that here probably tomorrow. So I need to have a little bit of flexibility because I don't want to put too much content out on a daily basis. It's overwhelming for me, and I've heard from my customers that it's overwhelming for them. So my kind of rule of thumb is I post 1 to 2 times a day, and I try to spread them out as much as possible so that ideally they engage and interact with me and they aren't fully consumed for an entire day. Now, I know some of you post a lot more content than me, and it's a matter of preference, which is really awesome that we're independent consultants by official title through the IRS, right? Is that we can take what we learn and implement it and make it our own. So again, free calendar power up. And when I go back, to my board here, for example, here's my stamp of the month, okay, for May. So I don't really add detailed descriptions here because I already know what I'm gonna do. So there's no need for me to duplicate my work. I do use CintShare to schedule out my blog post in my different social media platforms. So here, all I did was I associated with May 10th. I have marked it complete because that is done. And again, I'll hop on over there real quick. And you can see here's the May stamp of the month and it's marked off, okay? You can obviously see that I love color and the images. Files can be easily uploaded here. So I personally just love the ease of utilizing Trello. So that is how I post out my different posts for my groups. And then here we just got a lot of stuff going on. So I do send out team birthday cards only to my first downline, and I do that at the first of the month. And thankfully, I've kept up with it so far this year. In fact, I need to get one out, I think this weekend for later in the month. What I love about Trello, I think, is it's very fluid for me. I don't have to get a notebook, right? Organize it and then decide, oh shoot, I should have titled that section something else. And then I've got to go buy a new pack of dividers or what have you. So I will say this, I do not use hardly any paper. I have been on a middle school campus all year, and I just opened maybe my fourth ream of paper. So I am very digital, and I love that again, everything is with me. It's not taking up space in my office, my creative space, etc., but I still have it at my fingertips. So again, still a matter of preference. Another thing that I do here is like my prizes and goodies. So I did a little incentive last month for the a minimum sale purchase requirement for my customers, where they were able to select one of the mice for free. And so I've got my list going on here so that I knew how many of which I needed to order, and obviously so that I get them in the mail to them. So I also did a National Scrapbooking Day event with my team and my customers, did some drawings. And again, this is where I track those things rather than on a sticky note or a sheet of paper. I already know some people are laughing at me as I say that, but yeah, just a way for me to have everything in one spot. Then also you can see here, these are those good old engagement posts that we see out there that I come and dump when I'm not ready to use or schedule, but I can just put it here and it's there for reference. So I've just got lots of stuff going on there. Another thing that I think I mostly love about this is my, as I mentioned earlier, my customer and my downline tracking. So I do have hostess clubs going on here. So I've got them in the respective groups. So, you know, if I'm ever communicating, I know who to reach out to. This obviously contains my list of my VIP customers. And then here, we've got a area where I am tracking all of my customers. So I'm going to kind of scroll here. And you can kind of see just how I have things set up. So on my orders and my customer cards is what these are called. If I click on one, you can see that I have their name, their contact information, notes, any images that apply. I'm not going to scroll through there, but anything that is relevant to them. To be quite honest with you, I'm thankful that right now I have a pretty good memory about a lot of things or certain things. So I don't feel the need to document it all. And I definitely don't feel the need to have to save or print all of their receipts and all those things that are available in the home office. To me, those things are readily available that if I needed to go dig, I could. And honestly, it's not worth my time to dig everything out now and attach it when I'll probably never use it. Unless, again, there is an important need to do so. So I am able to tag these individuals. So if I click on labels, you can see that I've had parties over the last maybe year or two in Facebook. And what's really difficult for me, I don't care if it's close to my heart, my profession, whatever, is if I've never physically met the person, it's hard for me to remember who they are. So I've had to kind of color code some things and make sure that I remember how I met Karen, who lives in California, because that's obviously not where I live. Don't anybody reach out to my customer. I'm just kidding. All right, so here is how I use them. So let me just show you how easy this is to drag and drop. Okay, so I can move one person from one column to another. The other thing is, here's my list. So these are the people that I've sent cards to in April, and I've got some ready to go out here for this month. So I'll end up dragging them and I'll update that these have been sent cards as of May, whatever the date is that I send them. So again, it keeps it running for me and I don't feel obligated to send a card to a person or a goodie to a person after every particular order. And the other thing is it kind of keeps them guessing. I really get to surprise them with some fun mail, which I absolutely love. My close to my heart tab just has a Mod Podge of things. Here's the new compensation screenshots that I tend not to remember these days. How about you all? So here I've just got those right at my fingertips, some patterns. Again, I can attach files. So you can see here, I uploaded a screenshot of one of the layouts that was provided in the Make It From Your Heart blog, I think last week. Here's a direct link to it so that if I wanted to access it later, everything is very convenient. There's a little something fun from Dana. I'll show you some other things here in just a moment. And then last but not least, here is my first downline tracking. So again, I've got everything at my fingertips. If I'm running to the post office real quick, or I am keeping track, when is the last time that I have had contact with them in any means, so that if something's gone on a little bit, actually I can glance at a couple of these and be like, oh, I probably need to reach out to them here in the very near future. Okay. As far as anybody beyond my first downline, they are still in my team group and they are able to still participate in our team events unless I specify it only to be for my first downline, at which point I only share it with my first downline. Then those people will be added here if they've gotten a card from me recently, again, so that if possible, I can kind of spread out that little goodness and further my reach without feeling overwhelmed. So what I was going to look for is seeing if I had a file that's got a file attached. I think all of these, yeah, are just links. But anyway, when you want to attach a file, you just do attachment. And you can see that I could go straight to my computer. So what this has also done is eliminate, well, I should say reduced the number of images and files, etc., that are contained on my desktop computer or laptop, because now they're here and again accessible from wherever I am located. So that was a lot of information. Again, if you have specifics about how this works or how to organize things, I know one of the things I recently learned is how to make the cards look like this, right? Where they're a little bit more bright, because if I don't do that, I'll show you how it's not so pretty. So it serves a great purpose, but I like for some of these important tabs to kind of grab my attention a little quicker. So if you have questions about Trello, ask. I'm sure myself and others who have used Trello can answer them as well. And again, if you've got an idea for how we can better use Trello or make it serve our purpose of improving our customer service or our support of our team members, or you're currently doing something that is aligned with any of those things, please share with us. Screenshots are always good too, just saying. All right, well, let's go back to what is next. So let's talk real quick what I shared with Trello in just a quick summary. So I showed you how I organize my customer and my team contact information, notes for follow-up. I also track my thank yous so that, again, I'm spacing out as I'm providing quality customer service without driving myself crazy. And then that calendar power up that allows me to space out my posts in my Facebook groups so that it doesn't become too heavy, in my opinion, or more importantly, that I'm not forgetting to share or remind them of something that is important. All right, so here is the next little thing that I am going to share with you. So I have fallen in love with Google Docs, and I'm, again, happy to share this with anybody who's interested. One thing is you do not need to use Gmail in order to access Google Docs. Let me say that again. You do need an account in order to create things in there, but it does not mean that that has to serve as your primary email account. So again, if anybody wants any additional information, please don't hesitate to ask. But I have learned more about it through my different jobs that I've had over the last 5 or so years. And it's made me, I think, more aware of how I can communicate things that is more streamlined, again, for both my customers and my team members. So how many of you, let me know, are overwhelmed with, I could just stop there, right? But I'll be more specific. How many of you are overwhelmed with just keeping up with specials, right? And upcoming events with close to my heart? I mean, let's not talk about our family obligations or our family schedule or our close to my heart events that we're hosting in person or virtually, but just remembering it all. And we know if we feel like this, we know our team members do, and we know our customers do. So what I have done is I have created 2 different Google Docs that I have really enjoyed and my customers and team members are finding benefit from. So let me go back again, share my screen. But I need to make sure I open the document first. all these good old things. There we go. It was open. I just wasn't on the right screen. Okay, so this is what I have done for my customers. Now, both of what I'm going to show you, I have done for both customers and team members, but they're a little bit different. For example, in the upcoming event schedule, I have provided direct links to those particular kits so that if my customer comes and says, okay, what's the next class that's coming up? They can see that and then go click on the respective link and go order their goodies, or maybe remind themselves of the supplies that are needed to create the artwork as designed. Now, in my customer list, so I can easily copy documents. So it's super, super simple. Again, ask me if you need some help. But here I did not provide direct links, right? Because I want them ordering from themselves. But I did provide the order number itself, again, for ease of reference. So I'll just show you where that takes it. I do have them going to the Close to My Heart site for the event itself. But as far as the order number, it takes them straight to that product on my website. Isn't that where we want them to be? And I just realized that on this one, I put both with and without memory protectors, but not here. So that's how I have it linked. You can see I totally copy and paste this from the Close to My Heart website. Takes me a few minutes every week if I'm needing to add something after that corporate update comes up in our email inbox, and then I can just quickly let the people know that I have provided an update for them. Now we'll see here events. To me, these are still events for our customers, but notice it might not or does not include those other things that would be more applicable to our team members, such as, let's see, we're talking about events. So we've got upcoming launches, our virtual convention, right? Those things that are not applicable. And I also have down here on the customer one, I'm sorry, on the team member one, the upcoming incentive trips as well. All right, the next one that I am going to show you is going to be the specials compilation. And so these are just provided in my respective groups, and they're just in the documents area with some links, and my customers know where to go find them each time. So this is what I've done in the way of specials. Again, it's easy to find. I get it in the promotions tab, but even that sometimes is a little overwhelming for my customers. Or how many continue to ask you where it's located? So this just serves as another place where they can kind of see it all together. And I think more importantly here, mine have enjoyed knowing when the end date is. So I've obviously posted a link to the stamp of the month. Of course, all of these links go directly to my website for their ease of ordering. So think about all the different ways. I mean, again, you don't want to overdo it, but different ways that you might be able or want to share this kind of information through a Google Doc. And as soon as I edit it, let's say that somebody on my team in Florida was looking at this, as I'm adjusting it, they'll see the updates coming real time. So I love it. I don't have to say, wait, here's the revised version. So if you're not familiar, I could keep going on and on, but I would assume that some of you are. All right, we're kind of getting towards the end here, and I appreciate your time. And while I would love for this to be interactive, I hope that the means for me doing what I'm doing is best for just the information that I'm sharing. All right, so the next thing that I want to share with you is Google Forms. So Google Forms, if you're not familiar with that, is a digital way to collect information. It's great for registration of events. I do it with my customers to collect their birthdays and just kind of some special interest in the way of our products so that I can use it as a point of reference for those bits of information. But I'm going to show you right here what I am doing with my team. Basically on the launches that are live. So when we were hosting those launches in person, my team loves coming together and I so miss them. But what we would do is we would gather for the launch, but we would extend it over the weekend for a long retreat with training, girl fun. You know, if they're going to come for a few hours, let's just make it a whole weekend. So I have needed to fill those gaps a little bit because I moved away from most of them, and then COVID. I keep saying that, huh? I think I've only said it a couple of times. But what this did was allow me to still interact with them and do different things where I could serve a purpose for them. So in our virtual events, let's go back to the one. In fact, I'm going to click on this for just a moment. This one's from the March 27th launch. And so here we had the live training. So what I do is I decide on a few activities over the course of the weekend, and then I set a deadline for their participation where they can actually just work at their own pace, I guess is the best way to explain it. I do mostly still post because I don't want to be consumed at my computer or device the entire time. And again, it allows for flexibility if they have family events. Now you can see here, I didn't have great participation for a few reasons from my team. But you know what? What's inside this, if I were to click on the responses, is so valuable. So you can obviously adjust your title. Ours was checking your pulse was our theme. It was a time when we just kind of needed to refresh and re-energize, or maybe I did. And I tied that into our theme. So you can insert images very easily. And I have used this in a variety of ways. I've kind of called it a scavenger hunt a couple of launches back. And so they had to go find certain areas of our online office where certain information was provided. So those things that they tend not to think about possibly, or maybe they just don't know is available to them. So here we'll kind of scroll a little bit slow so that you can kind of get an idea of what I ask of them. And again, some of them really reflect and answer, and it's good for me to then reach out and say, hey, so-and-so, I saw that, you know, you said this, how can I do to help? Or can you elaborate a little bit more? Or you can see here, I'm going to go post what you shared on the team because I think that was really fantastic. So here, drawing them to the specials, do they know where those are located? And some do, but do they use them as often as they can? Talking about the VIP customer. So this was kind of fun. If your heart needed a diagnosis, a doctor might tell you to stop one thing you are currently doing and to start doing one thing. Name one thing you need to stop doing that is not benefiting your business and one thing you want to put into practice. Okay. Again, super easy. I mean, thinking of the questions is what takes me a little bit of time, but honestly, it doesn't take me very much time. But if we wanted to collaborate and share some questions, wow, what a great resource library we would have for this kind of stuff. Talked about Super Sellers Club, Jumpstart, right? Little Pulse. All right. So again, this is a Google form, and then it easily, when I scroll to the top, I can click on these responses and really look at their answers independently, or I can put them in a spreadsheet and kind of look at it. I will tell you, if you've never used Google Forms, that if you do the spreadsheet or the sheet in Google, is if it's a long response, right, your columns are going to get super long. So what I tend to do is just look at the responses by individual and make some little notes. I shouldn't do that because it doesn't go on paper most of the time. All right. I hope I'm sharing something that is new, or just maybe it's not new, but maybe it sparks a little bit of, oh yeah, I used to do that and I don't do it anymore. Maybe I need to bring that back out and just kind of revitalize things. All right, I am down to two things, and actually just one. And that one thing is textgiraffe.com. My other thing is just that I'm going to make sure you know how to find Padlet if you want to use that. Textgiraffe.com. I was recently introduced to that. Not sure if you are familiar with it. Again, absolutely free. So don't click on any of those crazies. Come down where you can type your name or your logo. So I'm going to type in my name and I'm going to just click go. And what it does is it generates some different images of my name. And there are some super fun, don't do that, see? And cute ones that you can pull for different occasions. Themes, right? If you have a theme, you might be able to find it. There's even nail polish. Oh, see, look how cute. So what I did with this recently is when I did my giveaway for the mice for a purchase in April, then I shouted them out by creating their name in just a different font or image that you've seen as I scrolled through that slide or that site. So what I did is when you click on the one that you like, you can download the logo, but when you download the logo, it is going to leave quite a bit of white around all of the sides, and I didn't like that. So what I did is I just took my good old dandy, I don't know what that was a screenshot of. I just take a dandy snipping tool and just do that here, and then I can copy and paste and go do with it what I want, where I want to do it. So just a fun way. I think it's just, you know, taking away from just the good old black and white, draws attention. It would be great for celebrating your team members. So again, what kind of ways could you use this, or how do you see it benefiting you? I would also assume that these are easy to just put in a Word document or similar kind of document that, you know, for name tags, maybe for a certain thing would be super cute as well. So again, that is textgiraffe.com. I will be putting all of the links in the comments area so that you have them. And I'm probably going to put them at the description too, somewhere where you all will have them all in one place and don't have to search crazily. But we'll figure that out when I post this video. So textgiraffe.com. All right, and I believe last but not least, let me check my little notes here. Yeah, it's just Padlet. So I'm gonna go here. I think this is gonna take us straight to the sign up. I'm actually going to show